Thank you very much. Let's start the show. Good morning to you all, and may the Lord bless the day. You know, this is a day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice in it. Those are the instructions of the Lord, that we celebrate each day, whatever comes. I've got with me my powerful team, our powerful team. Augustine Mkoka, international sports journalist, is now been deep into Zambian politics, and former PS Chanda Kazia. We are missing Dr. Brian Sampa because of the nature of his work, and you know, he's usually on call. But every time he has an opportunity, he does join us. We are discussing the key issues today. Today, the United Nations is expected to release Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu to the authorities. We'll discuss in details what that means, what is the implication, why can't we have a better deal than this, why surrender people that to an authority, a regime that will subject them to charges that may result in death penalty, although we don't have a death penalty. That's clearly contrary to United Nations regulations. We'll be discussing President Hakainde Hichilema's inauguration. Clearly, we have stated here that this is a coup in progress. He has disregarded all institutions, stole an election, and is on his way to be inaugurated in his second re-election. We'll review how the world media have covered this election. It's a sham election. If you look how they've covered it in Paris, in New York, even in Johannesburg, where they've attempted to stifle, the reports internationally have been very bad. Every bad item in our election has been reported that way. So although we are like an ostrich in sand, our nation subjected to the propaganda by ZNBC, the world has been fed with the truth. And we will discuss the ingredients relating to why we are where we are. Let me just bring my team so that we can begin the conversation. Team, where are you? There you are. Augustine, good morning, and welcome to today's program.
Hey, good morning, Ambassador. Good morning, PS. Thank you very much for having me today.
PS, how are you?
Well, I'm okay today. You can see I'm.
I know you are traveling. And you've got various meetings, but we hope that we can at least glean from you various views.
Yes. So thank you very much, Ambassador, and it's a pleasure being here today. And what a memorable, things that we will discuss. And I'm looking forward to having this conversation.
Yeah. Anyway, let's start with the first item. The United Nations, and as I have stated on this program, beginning Saturday, when I alerted you that Honorable Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu had walked into the United Nations building, I also alerted you that there was immense pressure on Beatrice Mutali, the United Nations resident coordinator, to surrender the two immediately. She resisted, and she was tasked by the United Nations. Her term had come to an end. Her tour of duty, as we call it in diplomatic terms, had come to an end. But they had said she should oversee elections and only leave after that. We demonstrated to you that when she decided to bid her farewells, State House did not accord her that opportunity. They threw her to the Vice President, who saw her. But the pressure was on. They wanted Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu surrendered to the UN. There were even rogue elements that attempted to say we can storm the UN extricate Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu, then the state will deal with the fallout. The president can fire one so-called commander who will have led that assault. They were planning to do it that way. But I think there were many voices of wisdom who said, Mr. President, will have crossed the line if we storm a UN facility. But they were at the verge of storming the UN facility because of the lawlessness that had been displayed, uttermost lawlessness that has been displayed in the last, especially 5 weeks. The United Nations responded to Beatrice Mutali's demand that they should quickly come in, and her term had come to an end, and she flew back to Nairobi, and the deputy couldn't make any decisions. The UN sent one of the undersecretaries. To date, they have kept his name or her name very, very quiet. The media have not mentioned her. I was scanning the UN documents. The UN documents also just simply say a special envoy. In some cases, they're saying a special rapporteur. In other cases, they are calling the person who has come to Lusaka as undersecretary. No name so far given. Maybe it's for security reason. We don't know. Over the last 4 days, this person has been shuttling between Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu and State House and Cabinet Office. President Hakainde Hichilema has insisted that Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu must face the treason and insurrection charges, and that they are not above the law, and that the sanctuary they've sought cannot protect them from the criminal liability that they should answer to. Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu, of course, have dismissed these allegations. They are false allegations. Just a day before the raid, or after the raid to his home where Mtoto Kafoya was killed, the Secretary to Cabinet issued a very optimistic public statement, public SMS to all phones in Zambia, telling them that there are no militias, there is no insurrection, there are no shootouts, there are no abductions, no one has died. You all remember that SMS, and I can look for it, by Secretary to Cabinet that was sent to all the 24 million phones in Zambia. It went as an SMS. And this is after a military raid had raided Brian Mundubileto. This is after, just 20 minutes after Brian Mundubileto was raided, Mtoto Kafoya shot dead, they released Brian Mundubileto. Of course, there was a lot of diplomatic pressure. That's why they released him and his family. They even allowed him to go back to the house. He drove from the house and gave me a call. And you remember that conversation, unresearched, unprepared. He just said contemporaneously as the facts were. And those facts that Brian Mundubileto reviewed on our program, the facts remain as he stated them. No single fact was a lie. But government on the other side had engaged in propaganda, even sending 3 key permanent secretaries for information and media, for Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, to go and debunk that there was no shooting, there was no one who was admitted to Maina Soko, and that there was no military raid. Brian Mundubile's story that my friend, dear brother and colleague was shot twice, the story stood. That there was a military raid stood. That there was no single gun on the premises. And that he was with his family, his 2 daughters, the niece, and his wife. That story remains undefeated. The facts remain immutable. They've attempted to introduce exchange of fire. There's no evidence because there's no one on the premises who had guns. So Brian took a lot of time, and Makebi Zulu took a lot of time to demonstrate that there's no militia. If there was a militia, Secretary of Cabinet would not even have written such a letter, such a public notice to all the 24 million phones in Zambia. And that if they were investigating the militia for a period of 2 years, as the president stated, why have they arrested those people? The Tonse Pamosi Alliance is only 2-3 months old. What do you mean you've been investigating them for 2 years? So the military story is a hoax. and Brian Mundubileto demonstrated to the United Nations that there's no evidence. And on the premises, if really there were guns on the premises, the authorities would not have gone to seal the scene of crime 6 days later. It would have been sealed on the same night because it would have been a crime scene. And but President Hakainde Hichilema has insisted. There was a proposal by the United Nations that Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu must be moved to an embassy, to a third party. President Hakainde Hichilema has refused that. Says immediately they step out, they'll be arrested. By the temperature in the country keeps on rising, especially the issues at courts where there was a process to close courts so that Brian Mundubileto does not file his petition. And to date, the judiciary are saying there is no petition. The political temperature in the country has gone back to the roof. And the church were brought in, the church mother bodies representatives were brought in to see how they can speak to the president, the United Nations, and to Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. The church picked 4 representatives, and they picked Reverend Chilambwe from SDA. They picked Bishop Ignatius Chama from the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops. They picked Joshua Banda, Bishop Joshua Banda from the Pentecostal Assemblies of God. And they picked a Pastor Sinyang. We haven't been given the full names here. These 4 have now been shuttling between the president and Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. The president insists that there are charges of interest from the Inspector General of Police, and Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu must be surrendered to the police. There's been not much progress there. The UN Special Envoy is frustrated that no progress has been made. Government has made the assurances that everyone believes are false, that they are following the rule of law, that Brian and Makebi Zulu will not be harmed, that even the church and the UN can send a representative to their interrogations. They're just being called for interrogations. We know what will happen. It's just like what they've done to the other 11. As soon as Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu steps up and report to service headquarters, they'll be slapped with those charges, treason charges. Why do we know that? Because the people he was with have all been slapped with treason charges. Who can commit treason other than the 2 leaders? So we know, even when they're lying to the UN, that only interrogations is being done to ask him this and that. That's a lie. We know that the fake charges have been preferred on Bishop Trevor Mwamba, on lawyer George Chisanga, Patrick Mwansa, and others. So why would they not slap the charges on Brian Mundubileto? This is a gimmick to get them out of the United Nations and to throw them in prison and throw away the keys. And the president kept on making assurances that to both the church leaders that are mediating and to the United Nations Under Secretary, that we follow the rule of law, we treat them in a civil manner. And that's extremely ridiculous. This is a man that has broken the law, has suspended the Constitution, has just stolen an election in a brazen manner, as reported by various international media, and has the audacity to stop an election because his rival is leading, has the audacity to close courts of law because his rival is about to file a petition. This is a man we should trust that he will follow the rule of law when he has suspended the Constitution. How has he suspended the Constitution? He's practicing state of emergency powers without declaring a state of emergency. The state of emergency requires that you pronounce it for 24 hours and then you take it to Parliament. Here, he's exercising powers of state of emergency, is locking up people in prolonged detention without recourse to any charge or appearance in court. Those are exclusive powers of state of emergence that he is practicing is conducting raids without search warrants. In many cases, there are no search warrants, how they are arresting and picking people. Up to 300 people are currently detained. And so I don't know how even Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu should accede to this so-called deal. Because you are dealing with a man who doesn't even respect the Constitution. How will he agree to some deal on paper that has no legal effect, that is not legally binding, is a gentleman's agreement? I feel for Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. Truly, truly, I feel for them as they'll be handed over today. So what is expected to happen today is that when the day breaks by 8, 9 o'clock, Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu's lawyers are supposed to come into the United Nations. Then they're supposed to walk out of the UN, surrendered to the church leaders and the police, and they'll go to service headquarters, where you and I know that they'll be charged with treason, and the key will be thrown away, like they've thrown away the keys for the others. We can trace why we are where we are now. 3 weeks ago, before elections could take place, we were preaching here, and maybe we made mistakes. We went public, demonstrated to our people, because ECZ was not conducting voter education. For 2 months, we've been conducting that voter education. We told our people, go with your pen, go and vote, protect the vote. Party monitors, ensure that you sign that Gen 20, ensure that you get a picture of it, ensure that you get a copy of it. So go and vote, form, a polling station committees, strengthen yourselves. The UPND might come to attack your party agents, support them, don't be in the polling station, but go to the polling station to count. That process seemed to have worked very well. And when we started counting, Brian Mundubileto was leading everywhere. And we saw first sign the following day was a military raid on Brian Mundubileto, and then Kalufianya storm polling stations, trash the thousands of votes by our people, put them in the sewer lines, in drainages, in some cases, Vale on Tabayasha, Ichimbidi. And the ECZ used that as an excuse to then close the counting for a period of 8 to 12 hours. Then we saw the soldiers turn up at major totaling centers. We saw the soldiers help alter results, confiscate Gen 20s, and we saw the results being announced by ECZ in a controlled process to attempt to show that Hichilema was leading the entire time. And as if that was not enough, Hichilema was declared as winner of that election with 1,100,000 votes over, let me see if I can get this document that is very important to what we are discussing. Will I remember his name? Because I want to finish the thoughts before I bring in my team. Let me just play. Kindly indulge me. Let's just play. Or maybe I leave my colleagues to. Oh, here, I found it. So there you are. There you are. Immediately, these constituencies were identified with such a huge gap that they were, let's take Solwezi Central in Northwestern Province. President Hichilema, all of a sudden, Mwangala Zalomis announced that he had gotten 54,000. But the parliamentary seat, mayoral seat, the votes were only 29,000. So Mwangala Zalomis was trying to convince us that 54,000 went into the polling station and just voted for the president. Then they went away with the other ballots. and Mongu Central, that 47,000 voted for the president, but only 30,000 voted for parliamentary and mayor. So they only voted for the president and went away with the ballots. Now, the foolish part about that is that that record is supposed to show in audits, for example, in the sport ballots. But if you look at the number of sport ballots that were announced, oh my God, nothing beyond 100, you know. But where did the 30,000, 20,000, 29,000? The total now, EU compiled up to 32 seats. The church mother bodies also compiled 32 seats. And they attributed that President Hakainde Hichilema had attributed to himself votes that were irregular, 1.8 million. You can see when they say the person who's widely believed to have won this election is Brian Mundubileto, because the president has fake results of up to 1.8 million votes. I have a fee. And this report has been compiled by many who have looked at the results, where you have, in some cases, the president receiving more votes than the registered number of voters. This is what he didn't want to go to court. This is what the president didn't want scrutinized. This is a reason that he arrested people that were to do PVTs. So Bernard Kamba and his team were arrested because they were supposed to do the PVT with Emmanuel Nkoma, Sencho Banda and Japheth Mwakalombe escaped the dragnet, but they were the ones that were running the secretariat. They disrupted it, they confiscated the documents, they confiscated the computers, they confiscated the 7 million to pay party agents across the country. But our party agents were so patriotic. Without money, they went and did the job. Hence, the evidence that we've had so far that we had prepared to bring to court. And when we wanted to bring the matters to court, they arrested the lawyer. Our lawyers were consulting one of the most distinguished and eminent persons in this country, Justice Annie Mwewa Stalin, just by merely consulting her how they could proceed with the petition. She remains languishing at Richard Kachingwe police station. They arrested Celestine Mukandira. The story of Celestine is very well known. His parents were working in the Congo. He was born in the Congo. But as Chief Sokontwe stated, he's a Zambian. And he came and settled in Sokontwe and grew up in Zambia. There's nothing wrong. My grandson was born in South Africa. So you are going to say he's South African? No. We were in South Africa for work. You know, he has his birth certificate in South Africa. That's what appears on his passport, everything. But doesn't make him a South African. They arrested Celestine because he was the one that was now collecting the evidence. Even when we were about to file, they closed the courts. Lucky enough, there are two people that have prepared people's petition, Linda Kasonde and Charles Longwe. Charles Longwe filed in the petition. The portal kept on rejecting it because that portal doesn't work, and the courts were closed. Linda took the initiative and sent to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice was so gracious that he issued an official statement to acknowledge that a petition had been filed through his private mail, and he had used his his office, his powers and administrative powers to refer that petition to the Constitutional Court. We are hearing ugly things against the Chief Justice. The events will emerge. Someone was even saying, Ambassador, you need to read about Skinner in 1967, our Chief Justice Skinner, who they sent UNIP thugs to hound him out of office. It was an ugly scene, ugly period in the life of our judiciary. And he was hounded out because the judiciary, one of the judges, had given I think, discharged some suspects. I think some Angolans were arrested. You know, it was during liberation movement. Some Portuguese Angolans were arrested, but they were not tried. So a habeas corpus was sought, and the judge released those, and then there was pressure on that judge. And then Skinner, as Chief Justice, defended the judge, and UNIP thugs stormed the chambers of the Constitutional Court, of the Supreme Court, and beat him up and hounded him out of office. A distinguished man left in a humiliating manner. Malawi gave him a job as Chief Justice. I will follow up. I need to reflect and refresh myself. So they are saying something similar has happened to Mumba Malila. For those that have details, people that are connected, lawyers and others, please let us know the details around the Chief Justice. But people are comparing to what happened to Skinner's having happened yesterday. And as okay, let me just I need to take this call. Augustine, give your thoughts as I take this call. Where is Augustine? Augustine has... Okay, let me start with Wachanda. Wachanda, give your views as I take this call, something urgent.
Okay, yeah. Wow. It's a very glaring day for Zambia. I know that when I hear the historical background that the ambassador has just given and what is currently happening, we are moving way back in history. Instead of progressing, we are regressing. And we are regressing to a time that we left probably 40 years ago. We are going into the default pattern of 40 years ago. If you see what is currently happening and the systematic way in which our democracy is under attack and is being destroyed right before our eyes, it will be very, very difficult to mend once we go past this stage. I'm not sure what will happen to Honorable President Mundubile and the running mate, Honorable Makebi Zulu. Zambia could either become or go deep into crisis. There are two possible trajectories that I see here. One is that Mundubile and Makebi Zulu are handed over. They are formally arrested, charged, and they have lawyers. They appear in court before independent court. Prosecution presents evidence, defense challenges it, court makes determination, and the temperature will cool down. Scenario B, which I am thinking is likely to happen, is they are arrested, charges will remain vague, access to lawyers restricted, court appearance delayed, evidence not disclosed. Other opposition supporters will be going to continuously be arrested. Kafuaya's investigation will likely remain unresolved. The result will be that the handover could be really a catalyst for much bigger political crisis. So those two scenarios are the scenarios that I see might be at play. The question is that can Zambia state guarantee a law, transparent, and genuinely independent process after surrender? That I have serious doubts. when you look at what has been happening, people have been arrested, they've never been presented before court. Look at from Chipata during campaign, they go to Mongo, people are still in prison. Look at how Ambassador Lungu was abducted, still in prison. Look at former judge Mwela Study, incarcerated. But the problem that I'm having is that there are so many people that have been arrested without seeing their day in court. If Makebi Zulu and President Mundubile are given walk out of that, I seriously doubt if they'll be given a fair treatment. If it happens, I would be surprised, and maybe it will be something that will change my perspective about things. But from the look of things and the number of people that have been, placed under custody, and then coupled with the death of Mutotwe Kafaya, which senior government officials, party officials were mocking. They are quick to deny almost everything. The biggest problem that UPND has is that they will say one thing and do exactly the opposite. And when you complain about what they've said, then they say, oh, but in the past, President Church was arrested. That becomes the answer for the current scenarios. Questions will still be arising. What exactly happened during the operation that resulted in Mutotwe Kafaya's death? Who authorized that operation? Why is it that most of all the people that are detained, probably out of the 300, maybe 1/3 have just passed through court, others not. Others, we don't even know where they are. Now,
thank you very much, Wakalamba Lekeni Mpuishe. Thank you for helping me fill up. I was on the issues of the petition that, I was stressing the history that we decided to monitor elections in a scientific manner, set up a PVT, do what is called vote protection program, where you form polling station committees that should help the party agents, strengthen the party agents in the event that there are attacks from the UPND thugs, and just to see what was happening. And, when the vote started, the count started, Brian Mundubileto was even scoring good votes, not Yerama 200, where he had now even reached 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 votes, although Hichilema was winning, but Brian was scoring good points even in Southern Province. And I was going that we saw then the soldiers storm, polling centers the following day. I've narrated the issues where results were altered, candidates were given like sweets, and I just gave you that particular chart that has been quoted by the EU, the 32 seats that are giving President Hakainde Hichilema dubiously up to 1.8 votes that are not his. This chart, you should look for it. Now there's a fresh one with 32 seats that shows that President Hakainde Hichilema has up to 1.8 million votes attributed to him that were not his votes. And this is in the credible reports. And it's been a basis of international reports to say this was a sham election and that the president is attempting to steal the election. And I was now at a stage where I was narrating that a petition was filed. Because of the overwhelming evidence, they attempted to arrest, even just the lawyers we consulted, they arrested Celestine Mukandila, our Secretary General, who was at the center of this. They bought they bought Zumani Zimba and they bought NRPUP leader Ezra Tembo to attempt to remove the legitimacy of Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu's petition to the court. Like they were trying to remove what we call locus stand. The locus standi was being removed by taking over NRPUP and Resolute Party. And I was narrating that when the day closed, Charles Longwe, who's been petitioning President Hakainde Hichilema's petition that he's not a legitimate leader of UPND because of the manner that they've done the election. They didn't follow the constitution. He's taken matters to the courts. He has taken from courts, he has taken judges that ruled in an unprofessional manner to favor President Hakainde Hichilema. He has taken them to the JCC. He is one of the petitioners to contest this election, and he has challenged it. He filed and he has evidence that the portal doesn't work and the courts were closed. And we have Linda Kasonde. Lucky enough, she had the email address of the Chief Justice. She says, this is a constitutional office. This is a man that runs the judiciary. This is a man, for whatever circumstances, they've closed all courts in Zambia. So I'm going to file my petition to him. And she demonstrated that the courts were closed and that the judiciary portal, online portal, doesn't work. The Chief Justice was gracious. In the morning, he issued a public statement. And that statement, the Chief Justice, where is my statement that was issued by the Chief Justice? So the Chief Justice confirmed on a statement dated 25th August 2026. And Deputy Director Corporate Communications Kalumba Chisambisha Slavin stated that the Chief Justice has acknowledged an electronic communication sent to his private email address by a member of the public. And the documents are defined. They are a petition with attachments, and that the Chief Justice had noted the mode of communication of official documents through his private address, and he recognized that this was highly irregular. However, he said, exceptionally so, he had admitted the documents and referred them to the Constitutional Court for scrutiny, hearing, and determination. And then we saw yesterday what I'm telling you, that something happened. They challenged the Chief Justice. They threatened the Chief Justice. We are hearing a lot of things. I've just been on a call with a very senior lawyer who's also very aggrieved, and the lawyers are trying to do something. They've heard about the Chief Justice and in the manner he was threatened. They are saying they will try to get the details, and maybe the Law Association of Zambia may issue a statement. A constitutional office holder pinned him down. They wanted him to issue a statement recanting his earlier statement and stating that the judiciary had not received the report. The Chief Justice has refused to do that. The Chief Justice says his public statement that was issued last remains valid. He is not aware about any other statements that have emerged. Such statements as they have been attributed to a junior. We understand that Nalishebo Imata issued a statement that there was reiterating our earlier letter. But who is Nalishebo Imata and the Chief Justice? The Chief Justice is a constitutional office holder. So we'll leave the threats that have been issued to the Chief Justice, not for speculation. We'll leave it to the Law Society there. The Law Society must probe these threats that have been issued to the Chief Justice, must probe a statement from the judiciary that has been issued without his authority. The statement that is saying there is no petition and therefore Kangwa Patrick can go ahead and swear him in from the Chief Justice. I've just I have just established a few minutes ago that that statement is not official because the Chief Justice did not authorize. It's just a collusion between Patrick Kangwa, who's gone round the Chief Justice, who's being threatened, his life is being threatened, and they are trying to make him recant his own statement. And the Chief Justice has refused to recant his statement. The statement he issued that he received the petition from Linda Kasonde and has since submitted it to the Constitutional Court. The letter of the Chief Justice that was in public domain remained valid, and I'm being made aware that Nalishebo Imata has issued this statement with Patrick Kangwa without authority from the Chief Justice and from the office of the Chief Justice. So you can imagine how they are undermining institutions. And when I say a coup has taken place, you people are saying I'm using very hard terms. What do you call soldiers storming totaling centers, soldiers helping change results, soldiers confiscating audit report documents such as Gen 20? What do you call that? What do you call Mwangala Zalumis announcing fake results, refusing to verify the results that she's announcing? What do you call this fraud? This fraud that has attributed up to 1.8 million votes to President Hakainde Hichilema fraudulently. What do you call that? What do you call the closure of courts by the president? What do you call that? What do you call the deployment of troops in our townships and compounds without a state of emergency being declared? What do you call that? A coup has taken place in Zambia by the president. His mandate expired. His mandate expired. We must be very clear. He's a transition president to hand over to whoever is elected. He purports that he's been elected. Our duty and the duty of citizen was to test whether he was properly elected in light of the evidence that has emerged that the ECZ has attributed up to 1.8 million votes to him that he didn't receive. We want to test that information through an electoral process, through a constitutional process, through an election petition. He has thwarted that process. And as I can inform you here, is that the Chief Justice has not recanted his earlier statement. The Chief Justice is currently being threatened and was threatened yesterday. People are attributing it to the 1967 Skinner. I don't know what went on. It's up to LAS to establish those facts. It is within their ambit to do that. And of course, not forgetting that he ordered a military raid on his chief rival and ordered this execution. They were looking for Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. They ended up shooting Mutotwe Kafwaya. And as we've heard, that they thought that that was Makebi Zulu. Someone says, Ambassador, are you aware that even a young man that sold Starlink for PVT was also arrested and detained? Mwamona. No mwa icho waka elefe, ka initiative wa Dar es Salaam ayasenda ma Starlink atashitishe abarepangama PVT na bamedia na umwana bali mu ikatoyo. Kindly send me the name of the young man that you say was arrested. So let me bring in my team now to assess the facts. The main issues we are running with is the alarming information, things that to occur this morning. What will happen this morning is the United Nations had sent an undersecretary. He has finished collaboration and negotiations. It is becoming clear that the United Nations will be handing over Brian Mundubileto today. There is some form of a deal where Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu will be surrendered to their lawyers and to the four members of the church that were appointed, and they will take the two to service headquarters or to the police to answer these charges But I was telling you that you and I know what will happen. Their co-accused are already slapped with treason charges. They will do the same to Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. They will slap them charges, and the commitment that President Hakainde Hichilema has made to the UN, that they'll be treated well, there will be no abuse, they will not be tortured, they will not be beaten, they will be subjected to the due process. You and I know that's a lie. You and I know that's a lie. You know, if they can torture George Sanga, if they can torture a poor young man, a Lusaka businessman, a Patrick Mwanza, if they can beat him in the manner, if they can kill Mutotwe Kafwaya, why would the word of the president be valid? If you have a man who's invoking a state of emergency powers without declaring one, the man who's suspending the constitution, the man who's closing courts of law, the man who halted counting because his rival was beginning to be reported as leading. Can this man honor his word? To the two young men, he has spent the last 6 days vilifying that they put up a militia, that they sent people for training. He has put up videos on your public broadcaster, and you have watched them. He has raised hatred against them, that they are militia leaders. Will he treat them well? Is his word valid? You and I need to pray for Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundubileto this morning. You need to be on your knees. You need to be on your knees. If you're not praying, I don't know what you will do, but this is what will happen this morning. If President Hakainde Hichilema was decent enough, he should have allowed Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu to leave the country. Make assessment when they are, because where they are, they have no phones, they can't reach any of us, they can't reach their family members, they are supervised. The last 7 days, they probably haven't even been watching these broadcasts. So their information available before them is extremely limited. And they might accept. They don't know that he has raised a hate campaign against him on ZNBC every day, that they are militia leaders, that they wanted to take over the country in an unconstitutional manner, that he's hiding the fact that he has lost elections. He's hiding the fact that his soldiers stormed polling centers and and totaling centers. He's hiding the fact that he closed the courts. He's hiding all these facts. He wants to shift the blame to Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu, that they are militia leaders. They are causing insurrection in the country, that they are bringing insecurity against him. And all they did is participate in an election. All they did is receive overwhelming support from you. Augustine, please take over. Let me leave this to you. Augustine, where are you?
Ambassador, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a very, a sad morning, obviously, to learn that the United Nations is about to surrender Honorable Brian Mundubileto and Honorable Makebi Zulu to the Zambia police on the understanding that they should proceed because they will be treated according to the rule of law. If we really are to take the president for his word, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, I think we have nothing to believe in whatever he says, because he is a man who has shown us that you can say one thing and act different. We've been reviewing the last few days his words of 2016 when he lost an election and was given an opportunity to petition that election. His words from that period, as well as the actions during then, and the manner in which he's handled the situation now that he's in power, are a sharp contrast. Given the power, he is not able to allow anyone to petition the election, to challenge a highly disputed election. This is a man who dispatched a heavy military personnel into the residence of his main challenger. Those people could never have acted in the manner they did, leading to claiming the life of Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya without an express order from the commander-in-chief during the transition period. So if there's anywhere we need to point about that action, it is the desk of Mr. Ichilema. It is the hands of Mr. Ichilema that are stained. If he never issued any orders for those people to kill, we would not be mourning our dear brother, Honorable Kafwaya, today. Now, the release of Honorable Makebi and Honorable Mundubileto cannot be classified in any other way but a clear opportunity for him to suppress the opposition. There are currently more than 150 people. Some numbers are even reaching up to 300. All of them connected to Honorable Brian Mundubileto. Remember that we are talking about the 11. But when you go to Charleston Police, you even have these young men who are merely party cadres. They displayed about 7 pangas, maybe 3. I'm not too sure if they put some pistols there. A few weapons here and there that were displayed, and they were arrested. Those guys have been unfairly charged with treason. They were not part of the evening raid. I think they had raided one of the residences of Honorable Mundubileto during the day and arrested these, party supporters, maybe that had come from townships and different places. And those young men were thrown into Charleston Police and have been slapped with treason charges. Then you arrest people who really cannot even, be a party of any militia of some sort. Bishop Trevor Momb, Council George Chisanga, State Council, Patrick Monsa, the commandos, the drivers, the bodyguards. What guarantee is there that Honorable Makebi and Honorable Brian Mundubileto will just walk into force headquarters and they are questioned? What we are getting is that even all the statements they've collected, there is nothing that is pointing to a militia. The case is so weak. It's an extremely weak case, but being driven by a person who's paranoid, a person who believes that seeing Honorable Brian Mundubileto and Honorable Makebi on the streets will make his operations very difficult. Yes, there is no one. There are very few, apart from UPND cadres and their surrogates. The country is disappointed. There is no genuine joy about this victory or so-called victory. This man is imposing himself on the country as a president. Like you have said, he is committing a coup d'etat, and this is an unpopular coup d'etat, because there are some coup d'etats that when the military takes over, people are even happy. People can even go to the streets. But this one is a coup d'etat where the military is involved and the people are not happy. The people are scared. But there is no joy in any Zambian seeing President Hakainde Hichilema. Any genuine Zambian in seeing this gentleman impose himself, become an imposter president on our country. He's stealing a second term in broad daylight. He has done everything he could to avoid a possible challenge, even through the judiciary. Now we are learning that even those statements that were flying around yesterday could have easily been forged. I got a few phone calls saying, no, these are not genuine statements from the judiciary. The Chief Justice issues a statement in a specific way, and these statements that are coming off the judiciary are not consistent with the Chief Justice position. But these are the same people undersigned who've been issuing this statement over this period from the judiciary. And people are asking, where are these statements coming from when the judiciary is closed and people are not working? How are people issuing these statements? So I think we are in a crisis. And Mr. Ichdema should know this is not the way to run the country. This is not the way to impose yourself, because the people have rejected you. The majority Zambians have rejected. Yes, we do not dispute the fact that there are few who cast the ballot in your favor. There are few who elect you, but this is clearly a stolen election. And if it's a stolen election, it becomes very difficult to govern. And that's why we see any form of opposition being frustrated, being suffocated, and dissenting voices being suppressed. Remember that you can suffocate, you can suppress voices today, but you will not suppress and suffocate the voices for a long time. The people will rise against you. It's a matter of time. You cannot steal an election. You cannot steal a term away from the people. It is the people that give you this responsibility to manage a country. You don't get it by yourself. So whatever happens, Mr. Kainde Hichilema should remember that power lies in the people. He can force his way through, but this is not going to be for a long time. And remember that since the courts were closed, anyone can still submit a petition, even today. And if they submit a petition, you've got no right to refuse it. It has to go to the Constitutional Court, and it is the Constitutional Court who's going to determine whether the closure of the court can erase the 7 days in which a petition should be submitted from the time the declaration was made. That question can only be answered by the Constitutional Court. And if the Constitutional Court says, well, if the court was closed for security reasons because there was a security threat, we therefore cancel the 2 days that the court was cancelled and admit the petition. That petition can be admitted. What are you going to do? You are creating crisis after crisis. It is unnecessary. Zambia does not belong to you or the group around you. It belongs to everyone who identifies as a Zambian. And we all have a stake in it. This is why you have to run this country in trust. The people give you the trust to run it. Right now, you were trusted to run it from 2021 through this transition period. But the process has been chaotic to an extent that you have had to shed blood of an innocent man, acting on flawed intelligence information that there is a militia, when in fact there is no militia in Zambia. Because the security system that Honorable Brian Mundubileto put together is no different from the security system that President Mr. Kainde Hichilema himself put together. Mr. Kainde Hichilema has got special forces around the security team. These special forces were part of his security team, security detail when he was in the opposition. They are still part of the security detail in any government right now. But at no point did any of his opponents say he had a militia around him. And this is the hypocrisy that we are seeing in the current president. Ambassador, it's unthinkable that, as Zambians, we can even be a laughing stock to a country such as Malawi. We are compared to Uganda. We are being compared to Tanzania. People looked up to Zambia as a model. People looked up to Zambia as a beacon of democracy. We were an example, but not anymore. The international media has literally scattered us. Our reputation is damaged on the global stage. Even South Africa, which supports, even SABC, which has been biased in supporting Mr. Hichilema, has been forced to put up the correct representation of events at home. I was listening to their broadcast last night. The SADC chairperson, President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has not congratulated Zambia. The chairperson of the Troika, King, the King of Eswatini, King Mswati, has also not congratulated Zambia. I mean, how can you congratulate a country that has had to shed the blood of a former minister in order for you to be president? How are you sleeping? And today you want to send the presumed winner of the election into prison because you think that having them outside, will make it difficult for you to enjoy your stolen inauguration, which you are forcing on the people, by ignoring even a legal and straightforward option, which you yourself enjoyed. You were given an opportunity to petition. Yes, we're not talking about whether you lost that petition or if it was thrown out, but at least you were given an opportunity to file it. Why wouldn't you give your friends an opportunity to do as it was done to you? I think Mr. Hichilema has brought Zambia to its knees. Its democratic standing has been messed up. Its recovery will practically be impossible unless he does the right thing. And the right thing is to admit that he didn't win this election and he therefore has to subject this election or this process to a rerun. Without that, the focus on Zambia will be huge. And the recovery will practically be difficult to attain. I hope that's not the image he wants to leave for Zambia. If he can take time to introspect, if he can take time to carefully review his action in the interest of his country, he may make a better decision. I thank you, Ambassador.
Bachanda, to cut you rudely, please finish your thoughts.
No, that's fine. That's okay. You had the perspective which was really good, and I was just following up because I just picked one perspective on the UN giving up on President Mundubile and the Honorable Makebi Zulu. So I've taken that perspective. But you see, I wish to first of all to just change a little bit of the perspective. I want to go after the serious men within UPND, the ones that feel betrayed to this level as well, to this extent, because there are so many of them. But why are they quiet as well? Why can they stand up and support the Chief Justice? It is on this forum, Mamamba, where we call the Chief Justice, but Chief Justice, the ball is in your court. You have immense power, and you have been a man of integrity from the time that we've known you, some of us. We were proud when we saw you assume to that office. And for me to hear the Chief Justice has maintained his grounds, that is the Mumba Malira that the country is looking for. That is the Chief Justice we are looking for. Let's see if you say no to swearing him in and see who is going to swear him in. Don't be part of this. I was almost using bad language. Don't be part of this evil. Stand your ground, Chief Justice. The entire country is looking up to you. There is no way you are going to allow someone to make their work so easy by making yours difficult. That is what the UPND and the president have been doing. They have been making their work difficult, their work easy, by making their friends' work very difficult. And it's because people are allowing it. You people in UPND, there is also a coup d'etat from people like Waneva Sinumba, who moves away now, they start working. But that working Waneva Sinumba for what? A man who should have been looking out for to be president. Via stage violation. You can't allow one person to alter the entire course of our country. We are complaining about these things because we know that this is justice which is being denied. It is being denied. We can talk all we want, but all of a sudden we go back to the judiciary because you are the people that put us all in line. If you allow to be taken over, seriously, chief administrator and secretary to cabinet, you want to ignore the chief justice? You want to ignore the chief justice? You will be made to answer for these things that you're doing right now. All bad things will come to an end. Quietness follows and remains. Even if today you arrest President Mundubileto, you arrest him, you take him into the gallows, don't think that that will be the end of it all. You will be just opening a much bigger political crisis in the country. Because look at the numbers that have been displayed here. You can't have 1.8 million staffed figures. Okay, let's put them to test so that we see if these numbers are not there. Why should you use the military? You know that the military have nothing to do with the civil matters like the election. That is why it is being categorized as a coup d'etat. When the military take over all institutions of the executive, it is a coup d'etat. You are not mentioning it. It is fitting in all essence, in all. It's a jigsaw puzzle. It is fitting. Someone wants to complain, they pick up. Someone says something, you go fish them up. Look at how many people are on camera being beaten by the soldiers. For what? For expressing themselves? We can't have such a scenario. But you want to destroy the entire country because you want to move. When people say no, respect the no. If you think people are not fair, they have evidence, let it be presented to the court. But you can't cut out the evidence. You can't cut out. You go and barricade a crime scene. Mwavika court as a crime scene. And thank God, the Chief Justice acknowledges. And then the stories we are hearing, Wamukoka, if those stories are true, where the Chief Justice is being threatened, it is destroying our very foundation as a people. Don't destroy the judiciary. Chief Justice, not under your watch, should you accept anyone, and I mean anyone, to destroy this country using the office that you have. That office is respected. That office has power. That office can send a person to death and can send a country into turmoil. Don't allow it from any politician to get in there and manipulate you. The Zambians are with you. Many Zambians are with you because we have been doubting the judiciary. Remember on this podcast, I said even today, I still believe that there are good people in the judiciary. They are good people that can stand and say no to this thing. Refuse. Right now, they want to bring President Mundubile and Vice President Makebi Zulu to you. They want to bring those people to you because they have no power to adjudicate or pass a sentence on them. They are bringing them to you, Chief Justice, and your team. And you have seen where this is coming from. You have seen the injustice from when they attack a private dwelling by the commandos. They shoot a former cabinet minister. Then they deny it. After they deny it, they mock. They don't just deny it, they start to mock the people that are complaining. They mock the families. And after mocking them, then they realize that, oh, actually, they can't hide it. They come back with different statements. The next thing, they formulate a militia that does not exist. Zambians have no capacity to take up arms and fight the government. They have no such capacity. Most people in Zambia don't even know how to hold a gun. We are not brutal people as Zambians. That is not who we are. And trying to divide us using a cooked up plan of militias does not hold. There is no such a thing as it's a make-believe. It is meant to fool us. It is meant to divide us. It is meant to make us start to fight one another at family and tribal levels. There is no one killing there. Right now, the only people that are killing are the soldiers and the security operatives. They are the only ones killing. You have not heard a Zambian going after from Mtendere goes to Kanyama to kill. No. There's only one group that is on record of killing people. It is the people that were entrusted with power to protect. The people with the power to have the guns for protection, not for killing. They are the ones that are doing it. Let's not allow it. Leadership of UPND, other than the people that want to bring confusion to the country, stand up. Because tomorrow it will be you. It will be you, while it's the same people that are planning all this evil will be looking at elsewhere. Bamamba, you'll be interested to know that some of my very good friends, some of the people we sat ate together, some of the people who would come to my house, I would go to their house. Some of the people we are on the same teams, playing for the pride of our country. Right now, if you see the way we talk to each other, you go like, what went wrong? We were a family. To already among us, by university together, we sit down to Today, we can't see eye to eye. Today, it's all because of these people that don't mean well for the country. You cannot start to kill people because they want to participate in the governance of the country. It is our right. We can differ on that. Who are we, are we not? And it takes, that is what Zambia is about. President HH has failed us on that score. He is not unifying us, he's dividing us. And you know it. Most of you know it. Because we can't sit down and talk to each other. You will know, oh, it's the president making the decision. It's the president making the decision. These decisions border on the presidential power. Why is it that we are seeing the presidential power being used in a different way? President Mundubile and Vice President Makebi Zulu are about to walk out, and they are coming into this society. This society, the police, you receive them. Think about what would happen if it were you who was seeking public office and the same things are done to you. You have the power to change the direction this country is about to go into. Once we pass this stage, to come and unify. The issue of revenge, we must not allow revenge to take root. If revenge takes root, we will finish each other up. Ngatuayambo kulwa takwabu ngatuapatana. When we hate each other, when we start, when we hate each other, I'm telling you people, there's no stopping. It will move from us, it will go to our children, and then the children's. And those are the things that we must avoid, because these have created fault lines in many countries.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. And dear viewers, we are tracking the story that we learned that this morning, Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu are supposed to be handed over to the police. The process, the way they've agreed it, is that the United Nations are supposed to hand them over to the lawyers and to the 4 men of God that were appointed to mediate between President Hakainde Hichilema, the state on one side, and Brian Mundubileto, Makebi Zulu, and the United Nations on the other. We understand that the United Nations a mediator who came from New York is supposed to end his mission today. He must have given his exit statements with the president yesterday, and they are going to be handed over to the police. The President Hakainde Hichilema has assured that that they'll be subjected to the rule of law. You know, and you and I know the rule of law doesn't exist anymore. That the police have to be allowed to do their job. There were requests that they should be given to a third party, maybe a third embassy, or they should be allowed to privately go out of the country and assess whether they can come back or not, assess the threats. And like I said, when the UN took over housing them, you saw that they had to be put under restrictions. And we don't know if they've even been listening to our broadcasts. They've not been allowed to make phone calls. And remember, there's that clown from the UN, from Zimbabwe, who's issuing, the clown that mocked Honorable Harry Kalaba about the iPhone. If you remember that clown, is being shared widely by the UPND here. He's trying to scandalize Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu, that they are dangerous people, and he's trying to import the challenges he has with a reputable international journalist in Zimbabwe, and he himself is far below. Is not regarded, even his page is not even followed to any magnitude. Probably just UPNG people are following him. He tried to go and scandalize Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. But the UN, from the UN office to send a special envoy from the United Nations, they took these matters very seriously. They've proper updates of what's happening in Zambia. It is for that reason that they sheltered them. If they believed in any of the foolish allegations of militia, they would not have housed them. And Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu, if they were militias, they would have gone in the bush, not to a civil process like the UN, And that's a story we are tracking today, that are expected to be released, that there were 4 senior members of the clergy that were appointed. We are also tracking the story at the courts of law. The Chief Justice's statement remains valid. He received the document and he surrendered it to the Constitutional Court. Attempts where they arm twisting the young lady to issue Nalishevo Imata, someone signed on her behalf some statement, that's a forgery. In fact, some people have even gone to a large extent to compare some letterheads that have come from the judiciary just in the last 2 days. Some have different addresses and details and phone numbers clearly showing that there is forgery at stake with the Secretary to Cabinet's office, trying to please President Hakainde Hichilema, to please his inauguration to go ahead. We have put it on this forum here that the Chief Justice's statement has not been recanted. The statement you saw from the judiciary yesterday has not been authorized by the Chief Justice's office. It's just another fraudulent statement in coordination with Patrick Kangwa, who continues to embarrass both his office and the Republican to all that know him. We've been tracking a story from Tanzania where the vice president resigned, and there were speculations in the media, in the social media in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam, that the vice president had finally resigned. The straw was the allegations that Tanzania sent soldiers to Zambia. That matter hasn't been reported other than in social media. But I was intrigued because I remember Brian Mundubileto at his last press conference telling us the threats on his life and that there are foreign soldiers that have come in the country. Just listen to what Brian Mundubileto said on his last press conference. I think that was on the 11th.
They're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to instill fear in you. Like I have said, Zambia is not Tanzania. Zambia is a Christian nation. Zambians, Christians right now are fasting. They are on their knees. And Lord Almighty will show that he reigns supreme. At the mention of the name of Jesus, in case you wanted to know, every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. That's what gives us the strength. The UPND cannot win this election. Never. Yes. There is no miracle they can perform to win this election. So they've now resorted to a Tanzania formula. Zambia is not Tanzania. Zambia is not Tanzania. This is Zambia. This is Zambia. Our God, our Lord, shines his light upon this country. This is a Christian nation. Every Christian is on their knees today to pray. And we shall emerge supreme as Christians. So for those that think they can import ideas that worked in Tanzania into this country, you've got it all wrong. So my dear colleagues from Tanzania who've been hired, please get out of this country and go back as Christians. So for those that think they can import ideas that worked in Tanzania into this country, you've got it all wrong. So my dear colleagues from Tanzania who've been hired, please get out of this country and go back.
We are very concerned by the decision of the judiciary to effectively close down all courts in Zambia today on a ground which is very vaguely and very ambiguously stated as security concerns. Now, we recognize the responsibility of the judiciary to safeguard judicial officers, staff, litigants, and even court premises themselves where a genuine security threat exists. But I think the gist of the concern we have really is that the timing of this decision falls within the post-election period, and in particular on the last day of the constitutional window for commencing proceedings to challenge the presidential election results. Now, it is of course already on a public record that one of the aggrieved presidential candidates has indicated their intention to challenge the results. And so it is very troubling that an administrative decision that will effectively serve as a stumbling block to the commencement of that intended action appears to have been made really with no or very little regard for the harm that will be occasioned on that aggrieved candidate's constitutional right. Now, in the midst of a very heightened political tension, the state really should be encouraging aggrieved political actors to seek judicial redress rather than creating circumstances or conditions that make it very difficult for that process to actually take effect.
We therefore call upon the judiciary to immediately rescind this decision, subject of course to the necessary security arrangements being made, and in the case where the physical reopening of the courts is genuinely impossible, the immediate establishment and public communication of alternative mechanisms through which commencement of actions can be done really needs to be put in place. At the stage of the electoral process where we are, as a country, we do not need fewer avenues for resolving any electoral dispute.
We go to the newspapers. Colleagues, quickly take note of the newspapers, and I'll invite your comments. The Times of Zambia is leading with that story. IMF congratulates HH. And police recover stolen ECZ laptop. Remember the one that was stolen by Kalufianya. They've recovered it because it's they are referring to the matter in Mandevu constituency where Kalufianya ran riot. They are also talking about that Zambia for rule of law secretary to cabinet. That's a government newspaper, and I expected to say that. The Must is leading with that story. Take them to court. Kasonde Mwenda is pleading. Free all political detainees. Over 300 of our people are detained or arrested. Dr. Neo Simtani is pleading. Don't kill Zambia's democracy, says Simtani. Midwife Association of Zambia says Zambia is, has a shortage of up to 9,000 midwives. And Bob Chinga says Zambia has attracted global scrutiny. Indeed, Zambia is attracting global scrutiny. Remember what I was telling you of the reports from across the country. News Diggers says the courts are now open because the security threat has been contained. Yes, because Brian Mundubileto hasn't filed the petition. He was the only security threat. It's just a petition. So we agree with you that the security threat is no longer existing. Let's go to Daily Nation. The Daily Nation is going with the story of the new Chinese ambassador who has paid the courtesy call to the president. And my dear brother Charlie, the lawyer, saying the court can receive an online petition, and even the petition via the Chief Justice should be considered as valid. That's what Tresford Charlie, the constitutional lawyer, is saying. Litigants have been left in a limbo as courts remain closed, because courts have remained closed. And we have to watch, colleagues, we have to watch the period for parliamentarians. They may suffer due to these closures as well. Parliamentarians are also, their applications are also time-bound. We may need to watch that. Then presidential petition, a non-starter, says UPND. And then Mr. Msoma saying the barricading of courts cannot extinguish the constitutional right to petition. And he's right, because that's just a right to, that's just a regulation. It can't override a constitutional right. And the other one would be our newspaper, because we publish 4 times a week. So this is a paper that's still running. We still insist that what is happening in Zambia is a coup d'etat. And we went into details to explain that. And that Chief Justice confirmed that he had received a petition through his private mail. Colleagues, let me invite you for your comments over today. Thank you very much. Mo Ibrahim is a prominent Sudanese billionaire, businessman. He's an engineer and philanthropist. He's remembered very well when he revolutionized the mobile telecommunications in Africa. I think he owned Airtel. I don't know what it was called then. Celltel. I think it was called Celltel, and he sold it to an Indian group and made billions. But he has now been globally recognized as a promoter of, human rights, extensive work for good governance. He even offers the Mo Ibrahim Prize, where a president, former president, wins this prize. You have to pledge that you leave office, constitutionally, that you have come to that office constitutionally, and you retire peacefully, and he gives you $5 million to run your office, and he puts you on, on some per diem of $200,000 a year. When President Hakainde Hichilema won elections, Mo Ibrahim celebrated President Hakainde Hichilema. Like many people, that he showed an array of light to Africa, that was a new leader who came on a popular vote and supported by young people, and that was going to, restore, democracy, restore the rule of law, expand democracy, human rights, and other things. And Mo Ibrahim, you find him in the circuits of UN discussions, in Switzerland, in G20, in Rwanda, Kigali, for those good governance records. You find him African Union, wherever there are all these good issues with presidents, former presidents, and good governance in Africa. And like I said, he praised President Hakainde Hichilema when President Hakainde Hichilema won elections. And you didn't believe what he wrote yesterday. Oh my. He says, President Hakainde Hichilema, you are throwing away Zambia's rich legacy. The arbitrary arrests of your opposition members, the killing of a former minister, and the suspension of vote counting should never happen in a true democracy. And your recent decision to close Zambia's top courts, including the Constitutional Court, just before the deadline for challenging the election result, only adds to this mess. Zambia has had the proud legacy of competitive elections, peaceful transfer of power, and respect for constitutional processes. You are defiling this legacy, President Hakainde Hichilema. Look for that letter by Mo Ibrahim. And he summarizes what many leaders who had initially supported President Hakainde Hichilema are feeling, a sense of betrayal. They never saw the dictator that Zambians had seen and denied him an opportunity to be president for 5 times. When they gave him a chance, the world is only recognizing the monster that was elected in Zambia. We have Honorable Elder Kafuaya's funeral update today in the afternoons, 27th August 2026, at the Tabernacle of David Assembly City Mission Church in Zambia. I think it's around Chalala, Libala area. There's that area, I think behind Shilenje. People that know can quickly comment the address for the Tabernacle of David Assembly, Father Harrison Sakala's church, where Honorable Mtoto Kafaya was an elder for 20 years. They'll be holding a memorial service, a funeral service for the late Honorable Mtoto Kafaya. I know that the postmortem has not been done yet, so it could be a memorial service honoring Honorable Mtoto Kafaya. The family is yet to issue a program. We understand from His Royal Highness Chifu Mpepo said Honorable Mtoto Kafaya will be buried in Lunte, in Kasama, after the initial processes are done of when they've done the post-mortem and other things. But there is that church service, and we'll encourage you to go there. Go and mourn this gallant son of our country that was shot in cold blood, whose life was prematurely taken without just cause and justification. Please do that. We are tracking a story and we want your phone calls. What will you do? Brian Mundubileto, Makebi Zulu are expected to be handed over to the police today. They'll be handed over through a group of pastors that were, men of God, that were put together by both Cabinet Office and State House and the United Nations. This is, I understand, is Pastor or Reverend Chilambwe from the Seventh-day Adventists. We have Dr. Joshua H.K. Banda, Pentecostal Assemblies of God, who's overseer and senior pastor for North Mid Assemblies of God. We have Archbishop Ignatius Chama, president of the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops. We have Bishop Sinyangwe. They haven't told me where he comes from. So what is supposed to happen at a particular time in the morning, the lawyers are expected to go into the United Nations building, have initial discussions. The UN surrenders Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu to the lawyers and to the UN, who then brings them to these 4 men of God, who these 4 men of God will take them to service headquarters, to the police, to face charges of treason and insurrection. You and I know what will happen. So we're opening the phone lines and let's hear from you. The phone lines are open. Please make your call quickly. We want to allow our guests to go, and also for us also as hosts to rest. So make your call quickly. You've been calling while I was holding this. We're discussing. Now it's time for you to call. Make the calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, let's just say I'm anonymous.
Anonymous, make the contribution.
Yes, I think I feel very disappointed with the move by the United Nations to release our leaders in the hands of a wicked government such as this one. We cannot allow such a thing to happen. We know what this government is capable of doing. They don't want anything to do with the criticism against HH, and they've said clearly in their preamble, statements. On and on, they've repeated themselves saying, anyone who stands in the way of HH, they will kill such a person. So why would the United Nations release our leaders, the hope of this country? Why would they leave our leaders to be so vulnerable? Because taking them to the service headquarters and looking at those charges leveled against them, you would agree that they're just handing them over to the powers of a lion. The HH is not a person to trust, and he is not a person to reason with. So I feel very uncomfortable with the move. We cannot go on like that as a country. We are used to democracy, and then this man doesn't want anything to do with democracy. And in their dark corner circles, they are busy planning to say once he is sworn in, there will be no more future elections in Zambia. They are going to alter the constitution, and they want him to become a life president. We cannot go back to a one-party state. We can't. I think for me, I'm not comfortable with the release. The UN must not release our leaders and hand them over to government. No. The UN must just protect our leaders by all means. Thank you.
They won't. What will you do? Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Endita.
Chitika kwena chavuranda na mono kwebati ba United Nations na waba bantu tapaletu watu wapana mtimo ifidia ikia kwebati bamwambana nguba konfomwe bali papane olia kwebati na bakupepeka kungala elo waya sera mapamo nangu wabutikira ku bantu kwebati bakwafwe bala bantu ya bakupokerera kwebati bale kwafwa uti bakusenda abantu bamufede bakutwala mukanwa kankala efire chitikana apa ba HH teti bareke ukwebati ba Brian Mundubileto na ba Makebi Zulu bakalendera ishi arachitika chako bati ero baya kuna bale amukubapera chashine milandu shintu bapera banabo and apese arachitika chako eba nomba pabale kwebati bashimye ba opposition bonse kwiba opposition uri onzo wakulalana Lero Chawulanda ndelira nemuina Zambia kweva tikukundulera echaro kufani chafika ukuteko kwava HH na tufirwa ukweva titwapo ava nensu twalekela Brian Mundubileto na Makebi Zulu vaya mukuvalia kukanwa kankala efe alatikana okuchita pa vamwamba takuli nefe akweva taukonzi avo mapastors ave erioko tapali valifirwa kwakwa ero twafikire kuma election ero pe RHTF nga pero vala ako kweva tiwa Brian Mundubileto na Makebi Zulu vale endera kabiri Chawulanda ulupwa lwava mtoto tafwaya kumona ifo bene kwevena Zambia kusango kweva timuntu vaipaya kumulandu wa mapoliti necharo nikuisatorea wecharo chesu cha Zambia lero vamwamba ina pefingi efo ningalanda vyakwevati ndelira mumutima wandi ndelira nokuirira nemuino kumona kwevati nifwe wotu wachita betray kwevati ava vantu avena Makebi Zulu Brian Mundubileto na bonse vali avantu vaitatu kwevati valepita mumapya yayi umulandu wafo bene kwevena Zambia umulandu wa mwenso undu tukwete lero ba HH kabachito bufwa bwawo bintu bali focused pali aba bantu atotera bamwa.
Thank you very much. For those that I was asking where the church is for Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya, the Tabernacle of David is along Lilai Road off Tokyo Way Ring Road. This one says it's along Given Lubinda Road. Thank you for that. I think our people can find it. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador Mwashuken and the panel.
Thank you.
Ambassador, I just want to take you back in 1994. I think the UN, they should learn a lesson during the Rwanda's genocide. There were a lot of signs which indication and report which was coming from Kigali saying there is a possibility of a genocide in Rwanda, and they are just put up in a blind eye until thousands and thousands of people were murdered. This is where it is now coming to Zambia. Just as the previous scholar has said, takwa bomuntu abu tukalefo wafuilisho then mwaesa mwanombe nkala mwelesa mule mugwekesha takwa abafilia. Under the international law, the UN cannot do that. One, why am I saying this? But first, our country has demonstrated that there is no rule of law by closing the courts. Other never UN, the same guy who has been sent as the representative from the United Nations. Now, today is the fourth day. There are no court proceedings. It means our constitution has already been suspended or it has been liquidated. We don't have a constitution in the country. Now, if you have a country where the courts have been closed, even the time the Chief Justice is trying to come and become firm and help to resolve the issues, and we don't know what is going to happen to the Chief Justice either today or tomorrow. Now, if you say it's been a standover, Kuwama men of God, first, credibility of Joshua Banda is very doubt. Looking to the law he played during the death, during the burial impasse, Yaba let former President Edgar Lungu. Now, Bishop Chamana Bambiaba, my pastors, Chimo, you very michaya katapula. You cannot give a guarantee to the Zambian authority, not even a single inch and everything, unless we Zambians, we just says our two brothers, they are going to be a lamb, they are going to be slaughtered because they participated in something which is being enshrined in our constitution. Not that the justice will prevail. First, you're in an investigation. Subject to takulifya treason na gufimbi. The only thing echo bakwatira abantu kubasupport na abantu bakavote na filia emulandu bapangile bamwamba you are there in United States. I know you have been trying to educate the Zambians. What role are they going to play? We have got the Zambians, you have an access to New York and to explain what is happening in Zambia. There is no way at even a single, not even the lawyers, not even a sympathizer of Mundubileto and Makebi are listening to allow even those who do abashima people who stand over abobabili chimo fikuti mwabika fe Pautambo, whoever number, Bishop Wemiele, Nangwama nice for being a sacrificial. That thing, it's not attainable, and I'm appealing to you. Muinaka, Bonsana Mukonka, Ukonava, PS Kajira, find the way you are going to save this country. It's a time of Mordecai and the niece Esther, when the decree was about to pass on the children of Israel. Na mwe nempo mulia pope na pomuinaka ini trap baba pela balaba biri fya shima people they cannot do anything fya ala banyengerera ala nakanga kamuli ala chimo kweba fya muchibe batulando kweba ati ngawasanga imbwina iloka na ibomba witira natole ishimba wayayibika mu mulukungu ile wayibika mu lukungu ile mbwirira nga yauma sikamupepe wala munefu yala kuchita FHH abachita afuka fenga kamuli alatao nishimbei ala konka mafunde waleteni ngabafu masembulia will live to regret. I thank you Amwamba.
Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
I'd rather be anonymous.
Thank you, anonymous. Make your contribution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwamba. I think I'll start by saying what your guest were, the question that your guest asked. And that's a question that we all ask. And that's a question that I ask most of my colleagues when we are sitting or chatting about this country. The question is, what conscience does President Hakainde Hichilema has? What type of a person is Hakainde Hichilema? What does his conscience tells him when he goes to bed, sleep, wakes up? Does HH sit with his family, discuss just like a normal human being? Is he a normal person like all of us in privacy or behind the curtains? Those are questions we are asking. Because a normal person, Ambassador Mwamba, cannot do such bizarre issues like what is happening now. We are now a laughing stock. Like in Malawi, there's a program there in Malawi where they laughed at us like no man's business, laughing that and that journalist on the Malawi, one of Malawian television, said such kind of a thing has not happened even in Uganda, where you believe they are dictators. Not even in Zimbabwe, nowhere else. What has happened in Zambia is worse than a dictatorship. In Zambia, what we are seeing today, not even in Kaunda time, Kaunda will label the dictator. Such things never happened. We've never heard Kaunda changing results for parliamentary for the MPs and give someone else who has lost. We realize how Kaunda time used to elect MPs, where 4 people stand on the UNIP ticket, and then the people choose. Then the one who wins and goes to parliament. That's what used to happen. But this time around, it's the worst. Not even in Kaunda time. We can't even, Kaunda was even more of a Democrat than President Hakainde Hichilema. And you can just replicate. You see what is happening, what happened in Tanzania. The opposition leader there was charged with treason. And here again, the opposition leaders are being charged with treason. You can go to Uganda. It's the same slate HH is using. The slate Suluhu used, that's a slate HH is using. So there's nothing like, I want to echo what the previous caller saying, handing over these people, it's like risking, because now it's like our government really don't care about human life. See how we have lost Gafwaya. See how we have lost a young man into the Gafwaya. A vibrant young man, a promising young man, a young man who has not even enjoyed his life yet, a young man who's trying to put food on the table for his children, a young man who worked so hard for his family. I feel sad, Mr. Ambassador Mwamba. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The lines are piling up. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
In East London, I'm Caroline.
Thank you.
If you never left hand over, what is our reaction? and ifo fwema Zambia nifo fweba tuingalenga ukuchita stop this thing. No, it's not about Brian, it's not about Makebi Zulu, it's about us Zambians. Tuala chitashani because aba empalume esho tumwene ataba ema leaders olo nombanga tuabachita hand over kuchiruani chala abashani ifo fwine fwema Zambians ifo fwema Zambian tuala chitashani because umwenso ewalalenga aba impalume shesu bale abashitunge umuthi wakwe bathi shikafwe nomba nishichapilika fena mwana democracy ya Mzambia fo ifwema Zambians namumona. So apapene ifo fwini, it's not about by UN bale fo kumona ifwe efo tuingachita tutu achita shani tuakwe bati tualekelesha ifwe amanani kane besu baya bachita hand over abo bashima pepo ba mwamba wesu nishita ba imine nishiba mwena tama koti ya isadika baya mweba because inchito shabo bena abo bashima pepo abo kuya kuli ba nani kane kuya bebati isuleni ama koti nomba kutuba imashani la bamona tukuba chita hand over bushe ushima pepo tulefu ayobu imeni mwema Zambian na mikoselesha imeni ukuluisha ukwebati aba keni batwipaile pamone ntungulu shishesu because ntungulu shishesu shere kweshine bamwamba namumona bakala babalela ndati bamwangala she's a good girl. How can she's a good girl abale ipa country na abajoy nakale so ababene intungulu shishesu mwema Zambian ndelanda kuma Zambian imeni sentwime nokuluisha please efondefo kulanda bamwamba mkwaye.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. We are in a serious predicament in Zambia. The President in the HDM has made it, has managed to bring this country to primitive ages. That is where we are now. My view is that Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu shouldn't have been handed over to President Hakainde Hichilema. I want to agree with the first caller. President Hakainde Hichilema has proven in more ways than one what his intentions are. You know, Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu should have been handed over to a third party, not to President Hakainde Hichilema, no. There is no one who can trust President Hakainde Hichilema as things stand today. You know the history, the background of President Hakainde Hichilema. You know how President Hakainde Hichilema treated Idris Nawakwi. You know how President Hakainde Hichilema treated Eddie Galu. You know how President Hakainde Hichilema treated the people whom he has been arresting. And you get Makebi Zulu, you go and hand him over to President Hakainde Hichilema. What do you expect? All these issues that they are putting up, we are they have effectively closed all avenues, legal recourse that people can go through. And when you close the courts, what do you expect? What do you expect when you're closing the courts? If people can't find justice in our court of law, what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do tomorrow? Because tomorrow, you are the ones who will be complaining. Whenever we feel aggrieved, we go through the courts of law. You get the court of law, put them in your pocket, dictating judgments, procuring your own judgments, putting on the judges to be delivering judgments that are in your liking all the time. President Hichilema has managed to bring this country to primitive ages. And you see, I've been wondering, where are these other opposition political parties? Very interesting enough. Where are they? What are they saying? Where are their press briefings? When Hari Karababa, when Freddie Membe, can't they? Everybody's being scared. Everybody's gripped with fear. Very interesting. Don't fear dictators. A dictator must be told right on his face. This is not it. I told President Hakainde Hichilema, my brother, I told you, my brother, this is 21st century. This is not a time you can be a dictator. You can't be a dictator in 21st century. Okay, all these people they're just behaving like even they have been bought, all of them. The opposition leaders.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Where is the civil society?
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Now, what will be back?
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Nameless. Well, I've got a few points to make here. Number one, we are on the shoestring which to break. Yes. I'm appealing to all the members of the UPND to consciously sit down and think of what they are doing is something right. If they have all agreed to go back, they should hand over Zulu, but hand over Nakale. No, but they should consciously think so hard. And one thing they should not forget, Chakwibati, once I'm a Kriba Makebi Badi Bendisha. No, but what shall I say? We must civilians. Hello?
Yes, caller. Please continue. You need to quickly wind up.
There was a distraction, so. What shall I for my civilians? Since Bale Bochama Soja, Bale Bochana Baka Pokola, we got a vonse. I'm a prison. But once the civilians were in Zambia, I'm a prison. But waiting for fear, waiting for Lomba, we buy a vonse. Once I had in Tifungo Bamba, Vaume, Nakulumu Pamakasa, Ale Chula. I am one of the Nakulumutinda. I'm appealing to the members of the UPND. Think consciously. It's all I'm so glad that the Chief of Justice has his foot his ground. Mwinaka tupokereshe niko tuapapata. Era na imone ni mwema soja. Mwalipata magilitips. Ima wapa kukola. Mwalipata magilitips. Nalo mwatupuisha. Impanga ya tuchepela. But there will be a day when most of you are going to lick the ground. Not more than this.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Bamwamba. Mafumbeni mkwai.
Endita.
Mkwai Bamwamba. Chitepo contribute. Bamwamba yekile chitika mchalo. Ofika kwa extent ya kwa tinga wamona namba. Eshina ya mtongota wishibe pa phone. Washula no kwasuka watina. I'm attributing to what happened to me. Namuno ishina ya mtonga. Pale ishina pale muleka na human rights. Natampo kuti na wabale to mina ini tabantu mina po before change. I dodged the until somebody else called me. We checked to them before and it's could program me. And I was even sharing with that person yesterday. And you see what is happening now. We are so divided. Tuli divided. You cover tina tampa no kutino kwa scammer phone. It's so bad because Navamona and you can imagine they're still saying, hey, Vatualeni. This thing I'm also likening to what happened to Jesus, our Lord Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ became our sacrificial lamb. If you earn a sanctuary, where UN is the one that is even involved in ensuring that ukuma countries ukuli wo ba UN eba bako. So ba UN eba lesherera eba afwa bali akonsama soja bajao batuma kujya eba le mono kwa finfiendele wino. How can they give up just like that? coming again to Joshua Banda and all these so-called believers that have been said. Kale batampa okulesha amapepo ba HH balesha amapepo balesha fiance lero basumina shani at my elections that tapali abalachita amapepo malo twala mupepefya balunga takuli bonse batampa okuchita issue abe na council of churches or whatever they call them. There have been no truth. These pastors are toothless. But Joshua Banda should not even be there. Now, never, except he doesn't talk. But we know that he's been feeding with both hands for a long time. So these so-called believers should not even be trusted. These so-called pastors and whatever, they are so hopeless. They are men of God. They just want God. Obviously, now I submit, Ramwam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ambassador Wamba. I will remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous.
It's very sad what is going on in the country of Zambia. Of course, Wahaka and the Islam has no consideration at all. And obviously, he is so bitter about what happened to Israel's body that he had no access, and Makebi Zulu played a very big role in that. So it's about revenge. This man had access to the body. Whatever parts he took. You know? So I don't know why we should continue frustrating everybody. And the Chief Justice, please, if he can just put his foot down for the country of Zambia, because it's planting a very bad seed for even his family. If he can stand up and say, we've got the petition, and I declare Chief Justice to have this case heard, and if he has to resign or fly out of the country to protect himself, let it be so. You know, this is totally unacceptable. And I pray, I decree and declare that he will not be sworn in on the 1st of September.
Mama, speak louder. Speak louder. We barely can hear you. I don't know if you are far away from the phone. I don't know.
No, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm just saying.
Or are you using Bluetooth?
Hello, can you hear me?
That's better. Please now say what you want to say.
Yes. So I'm saying, how can they check?
Yeah, sometimes avoid the speakers. They do not. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Anonymous.
Yes, anonymous. Make your contribution.
I just click on this logo and handed over.
Akulansheni ama akulansheni.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. To be truthful, by Jama pastors like that one from Pentecost Assembly, that one from USDA. For me, I don't trust them because I was Pentecost Assemblies. I even moved because of him. I'm no longer there because I knew who he is. And to be truthful, today when I was coming in town, along Great Metro, I saw that the vehicles which were moving, their message does not collapse. Almost cried. All those take machinery just going to get people who are innocent. They have not done anything wrong. What is it? Where did we go wrong? What happened? Like vengeance. Today I was to start with.
Oh, thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hi, my name is Katumbi.
Make your contribution.
My contribution is very simple. If we look at what is happening in our country right now, it looks like the government has got what we call selective amnesia. Look at what happened when Mututu Kafwa was killed. Yeah, they said they didn't know where Mututu Kafwa was. We had Tauka Wana and that other PS go to Mainasoko. They went there and they were mocking the death. Look, 5 days later, they came back and said they confirmed that Mututu Kafwa was dead. Then today we have Chief Justice who say the few days, I think hours ago, the Chief Justice was saying that the petition was filed in. Yeah. Then later on we hear that there's no petition. Then we have Zumani Zimba who says let us have a unity government. Honestly, what sort of government do we have? Then the president says he didn't know that the courts were closed. The courts were closed. So who is running the government? All those are questions. We've got question marks. The president doesn't know that the courts were closed. Then we have Hamasaka come in and say the president didn't know about this. Who is running the government? Is the army running the government? Honestly, this is very sad. This is very sad. In conclusion, the judiciary has to be independent. The judiciary has to come up and say, because we've got the signatures and the letters whereby the petition has been received, the letters are being produced, then who produced that letter with the Chief Justice's signature? We have to be serious as a country. That's why now we are a laughing stock. We need to make sure from whoever is running the government, because it looks here and then that the president is not running the country. Even Patrick Kangwa, he knows he's being used, of which we've seen that where the president is using people to peddle his agenda. Patrick Kangwa is being used. Chief Justice confirmed that they have received the petition. And later on, we see that the petition is not there in courts. Honestly, what country are we in right now?
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
In conclusion, we need to make sure the death of Mtoto Kafwaya has to be investigated. The deaths of other people who have died has to be investigated, because the UN Charter is clear. Aggression has to be reported to the ICC. We need to report some of these things to the ICC. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I would rather remain anonymous, and my contribution as follows. But let's just call this what it is. We've experienced the coup in Zambia. The coup is not just military, these offices, the presidential office, the judiciary, the ECZ, and the army have actually collaborated together to instigate this. They've denied our vote. That's why they can't count it properly. That's why they closed the courts. People have to get used to President Hichilema's shenanigans. We've seen it for the last 5 days. 5 years, sorry, not days. He's been doing the same thing over. He lies come earlier, and then by the time you get to know the truth, the man is not bent on leaving the seat just as yet. So handing over these two people, Mundubileto and as well as Makebi, they'll be delayed. He wants to revenge on every other cycle. They'll be in prison, they'll be in anything. It won't actually yield anything else. You take him out when he feels like taking him out. By then he will have done to them whatever he wanted to do. So let's not probably even think any otherwise. But the question is, we've been through this cycle, Mamwamba. Some of us who are old enough, we've been through this cycle. Until the Zambians get tired of Hichilema, that's when they'll rise. Like in 1988, we rose because we got tired of counting. That taken about 26, 24 years. So now what we're looking at is a cycle that we're going through. Bambiama Zambians, even these people that are supporting now, someday they'll give up on him until such a time comes. But what will happen in the meantime with Brian and as well as Makebi, we don't know what will happen to these people. I would rather they had been thrown out someplace else. But for now, even the next 5 years, it won't be a democracy as it is. They'll give us who to run against. There's no democracy. It's gone, my brother. We don't even have to talk about it. It's gone. If you deny the masses vote, let's go back a little while ago, 2024, Edgar Lungu said this. You know, people just did not really put their minds to what he was saying. He says, look, what stops us in that office is actually the Constitution. Now, the Constitution does not speak. It's things written. He says, this is only what stops us to do what we want to do. But this man, he pointed to Islam, he says, this man is not listening to the Constitution. Edgar Lungu said this. So he was telling us Zambians, it's either you rise now or you not. You understand that? But we kept cool. This peace thing, we've been through it. This peace thing, there's no peace anymore in Zambia. Peace is to whatever is ruling and whatever. The people at the bottom here, these marketeers, they won't treat anything. There's nothing going on with them. You know, you won't touch them. But it's when you start rising, you know, into those offices and anything else, when you start agitating his governance, that's when you see the claws of it coming to get you.
Thank you, my brother.
We have experienced the coup.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ambassador Mwamba. I called and it wasn't clear. I was just saying that this man is trying to get back at Makebi because of what happened in South Africa. He's very upset, even if he had access to that body. And I was just talking, Chief Justice, please put your foot down because you are planting a very bad seed for the people that are coming. Please, the judiciary, by Chief Justice, put your foot down. Muka chiteko rule na for 3 months. Kuka be rerun. Naba mayo abali before by tokuti ba to shoot. Aba kalamba. Vaya ko fena ma topless. Nama brafe kai kamuku chita protest. Aba kalamba na 65 and above. And na weba nama placard. Mrs. Ichile maba muteka twafueniko echalo chesu. Because if we don't do anything now, it's the end. Unless somebody will just do a Muslim thingy and just do he's ready to die and he kills the president and he also dies. Because people that want power, that are hungry for power, don't get tired. That's Yele is saying, and he's saying, no, me, I can do a coup. You know? And he can do a coup against him. So please, as family, let them talk and just behave themselves. That's a mother. And what is happening really? My mother died a long time ago, but I don't think she would have less integrity. I don't think she would have such immorality, really. Whatever it's for, whether it's for the daughter, whether it's for herself, that's just ridiculous. I submit and I'm praying. 1st of September, he will not be sworn in. In Jesus' mighty name, I decree and declare. We are in the New Testament, and he's a God of now, and you hear us. In Jesus' mighty name. It will not happen. They will live and declare the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. They cannot be praying in tongues for nothing. In Jesus' mighty name.
Amen, Mama. Who's please speak to. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, hello, good morning. This is Mutinta. I'm calling you within Lusaka.
Mutinta, make your contribution.
Good morning. Yes. This process should not be trusted. We have seen this happening for the past, I think, close to a month. These people cannot be trusted. And I'm not understanding. I don't know if he's just buying time for 5 years, because we all know that these elections were rigged. We all know that he is not the leader that he's supposed to be. We all know that this man is a dictator. So I don't understand what is going to happen. He is going to do something bad to Mr. Brian Mundubileto and Mr. Makebi Zulu. And they shouldn't be trusted. these people that are handing them over should not be trusted. So we should be worried about their safety. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, I'm calling from Quito. I'd like to remain anonymous, Ambassador.
Yes, anonymous, make your contribution.
Yes, I'm out of the idea to hand over the Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu to the police. But we don't have a president who keeps on behaving like a mad person. And then they call it Mingarato. Zambia is a Christian nation. You can't rule a charo named Mingarato. Take a charo, Nagatina Kakwalisa. And that's why we can see Facebook. Their supporters are celebrating that very never. What does that mean? This is the president who said they are masquerading themselves as a political party. And somebody in the background said, Bain de Gujere boss. And then he said, it's Nanguchipani. But what does that mean? Eh? Doesn't work like that. The best thing that we can do is just to rise up and defend our country. Zambia is ours. Zambia does not belong to one person or to Ziari. And those pastors who have been chosen by the government, those are cadres, the likes of Joshua Panda. Where were they when people have been killed? They were quiet. And today they want to act like champions to say, doesn't work like that. The only thing we can do currently is to pray for our leaders. Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good morning, Ramamba.
Good morning.
Zephania is my name.
Thank you, Zephania. Make your contribution.
Yeah, my contribution is that we'll ask the UN not to hand over Brian Mundubileto, the Makebi Zulu. The script has been already written. They have been labeled to be militia. When they did almost 57 rallies, they campaigned, President Hakainde Hichilema campaigned for 127 rallies, but he is not satisfied. All what he wants to see is to see those people not to exist in this country. So we will ask the UN, please protect those two gentlemen, because handing over to them, and we know what we want, and we know what has been happening. Today, our country is corrupt in all departments, and no one is going to protect them. And we know that what President Hakainde Hichilema is forgetting is that, yes, Edgar Lungu is gone. He might take Brian Mundubileto, but someone else again will be gone. So for how long is he going to treat people like that? So the best is that Zambians, like other callers have said, this battle is stand up. Where we walk in 03 to vote for Brian Mundubileto and the Makebi Zulu. This is the time again we should stand up in a peaceful protest. We want to save our brothers. President Hakainde, go back to democracy. After 35 years of being democratic, we have gone back to one participatory democracy. And this is what is happening. So even the church, those church bishops and so forth, they are going to play a role of pirate where they want to hand over our two men who was fought, who wanted to set the battle. Because when you look at from 1964 to date, 7 is a completion. And we wanted to reset the baton by electing Brian Mundubileto so that we continue with democracy. But President Hakainde Hichilema, he has refused. He's refusing by using the soldiers, police, the courts. Everything is corrupt. Even if they have opened the courts today, they are just trying to play a game. And we know the last 5 years that President Hakainde Hichilema, he has preached the constitution many times. So who is going to believe him? Even UN should not believe. They know that this man, he doesn't mean well for this country. Thank you very much.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good morning, Ambassador.
Good morning.
Okay, MK6 calling you from Pretoria.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, I didn't want to call in because my emotions are very high. But I thought, let me calm down before. I've just seen one headline, or maybe some developing story where the family of Mutotweka Fire are saying that they found the body in the mortuary lying naked without any cloth apart from his wristwatch. So I just wanted to speak to that ambassador to say, are we living in a cult kind of country where everything else has to be spiritually or maybe satanic? Because there are those things that have been done behind closed doors that raises a lot of questions, you know? So I think as a people, with this rumor or maybe report coming in from the UN that they want to hand over our two men, or the boys as he called them, you know, there's nothing wrong by rising up and be with them. If it means we go with them to the police, I think that will send a message. Just this morning around 01, I had to write to Pierre Lumumba. I think you've observed that he has been quiet because he's an ally to HH. And I had to petition him to say, Pierre Lumumba, you've spoken to governments, you've spoken to leaderships across Africa, across the world. Why are you mute? And all he says is, I hear you, you know? And this is the same thing that I have seen in Zambia. Most of these service chiefs and the like, the Chief Justice, and whoever is doing whatever they are doing, they even know that what they are doing is literally ripping the law. But because of money, why as humans, why have we turned so much blind to anything but money? Can we rise up as a people, defend democracy, defend these duo who are incarcerated? Because as far as I know, they are incarcerated already. Because if you don't move, even if you are in your house, but you can't move, you are better off being incarcerated. So let's stand up. If that is true, can we rise up in the streets, go with them wherever they want to take them? If it means we sleep at the prison cells there, we also sleep there, outside. And that will send a message. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Please don't forget to play the audio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
It's a traditional Armenian Anonymous.
Yes, Anonymous, make your contribution.
Yeah, I think I just want to concur with the previous caller. You know, Fiancé Futulela that movie, if you talk about my election, now Fichitika no Baba, to feel to watch the act. Why you ending about it while Makebi na Mundubileto to stand over good government or HH. Now, if we have to rise, because the issue we are going to play and the Peter Mumbai night. Kumana pa post office, we just agree as we are calling a papene. Kumana pa post office in Animairo and Nile, which Rufia, because Ula la Fiala to Balafim now. Bamuala Rusa. Not Rusa, but this is the time to start. So, Nile longer Kwamba to Amba. Furthermore, we are even ready to send a number where we can start mobilizing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Nikukoba Beauty, Anonymous.
Yes, Anonymous.
Mkwa, inataka kulanda kufende, but chavi pasana. Libaweni for Finale, for stand over. Because we President Akainde Ichilema, Kwamba Futungushi Wabufi. Aba atalala kwechinga ngabakupera ekisuma nshukukumbi kuli peni ngabakupera ku switch kulishi kuli peni ifo baba bena abapera fe chintu for free nshukuli peni so taba umfote bantu bakoba timora batetekera then ama bishops ma title fye bakwata fya ma title mumone pa chiro cha balungu muntu ali muchitumbi bali situmo bale mutina uli muchitumbi nafwa bale mutina nombo wachiba uli mutuntu bare chino muntu uri muchitumbi badwali shibe bali shibe ati balungu bakara bashupa baje bali muchitumbi na mwena barefwayo kuko bakwisha bapaka babamone fu bara bocha nanga tushinga kuba bikira po chiriti ngakuba liya katwishi ifintu fimo aba bantu amena ama ifofwe ama bishops aba bonse fye katwishe fo baba umone fye leta bane basi mbo ba fyaje bale amukutwekinga pa malaris abantu abatuntu bose barepita kumba lino kwikala kabungwe konze kamukeni echo barefu yakukwisha opposition tapali no wakulanda kuna ngufeu nabeshwe ati mubena Mundubile yose idya loyalty ayipali balungu ili pawe na Mundubile nabanani kana na makebizu so naba kwatali amano nabeshwa mu kingdom of darkness nabeshi bati aba ever sendere right ya pali balungu so mu kingdom of darkness nabeshi bati ngatwashimya abani twashimya right abonse ni bakuwe bakaraba ni bakuwe bakebye ni bakuwe ekibe minine mu rubuto ngura iminine banani kale nombo baende so nabeshi bashonse so our prayer yakwabati lekeni ifwede so mwine afikirishe because uyure jiringa naba ni elodi ni falao uwe foko na ora leonse icho lesale ini ba falao ni ntungurushisha abasha mbayi bosho twale mfafe mbayi twisho tuberenga lero nishintungurusha ama pastors ose twareberengere ro twambo kula mu Zambia kwa bati abamaza ama bishops bonse aba bonse ni bamukukuru sifire ndemyeba ba bishops besu badi bamukukuru aba mona abantu baresumyo muropa bamutoto kafwa usharera kana abantu afo bali barefo kuyana kuchiriro munguru washani ne munguru ukurusano nati tukalipasa ifo tulepepa tuli babofu bakwaza bali tulepepa no machire tukalipa kubantu abalese banyande board of class abantu abali kuntanshinga bakalamba nabafyasha abayishi batwalishi baleso abakusayi kuti abashayi no muntu uleipa abantu umuntu uleichusha abena Zambia muko mulebera kusayi ato traba mwam.
Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, thank you. My name is Faith Kalenga. I'm calling you from Dallas, Texas, United States.
Thank you.
Bamwamba. Takuli abantu tuingalanda nabo bakanya ababa UN kutitali lizi ba Mundubile na ba Makebizu. Please, na tuishu omuntu tule dealing anankwe. How can they even say that? Please, kuli oba tuingalanda nabo balande kona ba United Nations kanshi babafumyemo mu Zambia babatwale ku kichalo kimbi ukukiro kubapera kuli ba Akainde. Mwe bantu bakwalesa finshi firechi tika kwenda. Teti muchitefu, teti bachitefu. What have they been taught? If you alale ngokwe bati basumina ati bala bantu ma criminals babachite handover kuli bakapokola. You know you can talk to Balande Kona by United Nations. But that's why I end up like
our line is cut. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make a contribution.
Thank you. This is Mother. The mother of Zambia is back.
Make your contribution.
Yes. First and foremost, this decision by UN to hand over my two sons as a mother, I'm not happy about that decision. What security details are in place, I would want to know as a mother of Zambia. Because my interest is to safeguard lives and not let my children be annihilated. I say so, I refer to the Bible, the account of Isaac and his wife Rebecca. The wife was expecting twins, and as a mother, she was told, you are going to have sons. The older will save the younger. She delivered. The children grew, and we are told there was a time when the older came from whatever he was doing. He came very famished and asked for the soup that the younger was eating. And there was an exchange there. The soup and the mantle of leadership there. So that order relinquished his position to the younger because of his belly. Then, at the time the father was about to go, we know the Jewish law, he had to release his blessing on the firstborn. And so he called his firstborn to tell him, before I go, I'm dying, you have to prepare this meal the way I love it, so that when I'm going down, when I'm dying, I go on a full belly. That firstborn goes to prepare the meal. The mother was listening in to the plot, and she called the other son. The one that wasn't called said, son, I heard your father saying this and that and that. So you quickly bring this animal, we prepare, and what. There was that. Then there's, Mom, Dad knows my elder brother is hairy and all that. Said, that's a small issue. We'll know what to do. So they plot. The mother and the son plotted. The father and the son plotted. At the end of the day, the mother's plot worked.
Mama, what would you want to say? We have Mundubile and Makebi. There are so many calls, Mama. There are so many calls.
Okay, let the mothers. Oh, thank you. Let me. The Makebi and Mundubile should not be released, because that mother, after the plot, she released the son to go and hide. My point is the cost clear for United Nations to hand over these two sons to the Zambian law? Which constitution, which is in the pocket of the army commander? So they are releasing them to what? To who? Because that is my concern. The politics of the belly. If that UN, whoever is arbitrating over this issue with those so-called men of God, when there was that raid on Mundubile's home, did those so-called men of God go? Did they issue any statement? They've been silent. Let them remain silent even now. I don't even want to hear anything like Joshua Banda. Which God is he representing? Which God is he representing? Because they want us to be annoyed and go out and they start shooting us, so that we become a statistic in Africa, and then the mineral resources that have already been given, they can freely come and take. We are not going in the streets. As a mother, I'm standing before Zambia and God.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, I'm calling from Luapula.
Make your contribution.
To tell you the truth, yes, people here in Luapula, they are ready. They are ready to go in the street, people in the villages. I've talked to them, even the chiefs. But what we want is just now that people would start demonstrating. Even those in Lusaka, the only way we can save Mundubile and Makebi is to go on the street and demonstrate, surround all these district offices and start demonstrating peacefully and shout for their relief. All those we know Joshua Banda is Nikandile. and the other people. Maybe the only regrettable there is Archbishop Chama, but he also be overpowered. The only way is for us Zambians to go on the street. I have worked in Malawi for 10 years and run institutions in Malawi. And people went on the street. The ordinary people, even the students. This man doesn't need any future for the Zambian church. It's him and his family and his cronies. The only way, let us demonstrate and show him that we are not happy the way we voted. But voting didn't work. Now is we should go in the street and demonstrate. I rest my case.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good morning, Mr. Mwamba.
Good morning.
Yes, my heart is filled with fear. I don't know why by you in Valadikirako Awama boys vase in an because they say no, the church what the church has been quiet from the time Mtotukafaya died. The church has been quiet. The Painefo Vala and Dapo by Kalafezi. What guarantee do we have that Ababa Biribala are protected by the church and those parties above? It's really sad because really democracy it's like HH is a lock of ages of this country. He has gotten away with so many things. But now I am so scared. I don't know why by you and Bachita decide to because already Kuno Panse people upset and the people are suggesting no, people will go in the street to touch the protest. It's not possible, my dear brother, because everyone is scared. Police officers, soldiers are everywhere. Now, Ishishibe, I don't know their fate in Gabafuma because they went there for protection, but they and know the church will intervene. The church is not going to intervene because Mtotoka Fire, when he died, Batawokawana, we heard Batawokawana and that lieutenant, and they should resign on moral ground. Yet they knew that Mtotoka Fire is there in their hospital. But church was quiet. At my election, things were happening. The church was quiet. We saw how Kalfianya, Alice and Dama ballot papers. People have been doing all sorts of things, but because they've got immunity. But our very innocent, we've got over 300 people mukasted. Nothing is happening. The church is quiet. What guarantee do we have that the church now is going to protect these two? I feel so bad. My heart is heavy.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, Ambassador Anonymous here.
Yes, Anonymous.
Ambassador, Panompo Turina Cheshia. If in Israel, Jews, they are fighting. Abanaba Israel, what will stop us from fighting? What they are doing is totally wrong, number one. Number two, we muntu now is wadi lusa. And from the word go, Makebi, one pachirefe pachitumbi, bantu bashana badi tumbi yonse. Makebi opa in nefe omulando ba pushing South Africa. I can't lie you. From the other regions, badi mupata Makebi Zulu. And they mean so evil over Makebi Zulu. And if there are ways and means, we are ready to rise. Do or die. If we won't fight for this freedom, I'm telling you, we'll be dying inside. We are ready for anything. And Mr. Ichirema, you are listening. What you are doing is totally wrong. The intelligence, some of you, the intelligence, you know what they are doing in secret. The conspiration they are making, it is totally wrong. And to the soldiers, if it means to be divided, we are ready. We are ready. We are ready. You people in military, don't follow foolish orders. Those are foolish orders that are being given to you. You are trained to defend this country. And it is an embarrassment to the international community. I'm telling you the truth. This is an embarrassment. The whole world is watching the drama. And people, they knew it, the elderly people.
if Korofiarelanda, these people they want to. What kind of a person? You also really have Tumbi. You went to South Africa, wakoromo echitumbi. Here, chaba mtoto kafwaya. You are refusing that you are not in a Freemason. You are a Freemason. And I don't know how other people are saying to be normal.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, caller. Make your contribution quickly.
Yes, Mr. Mwamba. I will remain anonymous.
Yes.
Mr. Mwamba, I don't know by you any what job did they came to do here if they want to release Mr. Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundubileto. And two, the issue of the caller who are calling just educating each other without a solution, I don't think ingafire panga sensi. Tend to sang a solution the way we are going to help these people. Number chile muna kwati ba Brian Mundubileto na ba Makebi Zulu as if they are only people abo background. The other people they are white. Even if the people they want to protest, we need some leaders who is going to lead those people who are protesting. Otherwise, ingatwalaika la fine tukashala kwati bana banjiwa. Tete tulekelele bana nkani ba Brian Mundubileto na Makebi Zulu. Abo bayu any shimwene ponchito na nguimwe baisa mukuchita. Bishop baisa mukuchita exactly. Because vale karifia fiama citizens imitima. Na totela.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Yes, caller. Make your contribution.
Yes, my contribution is those people shouldn't be released. Because if they are saying the church will come on board and will be there, why didn't the church stood up for the people, for the 300, those that were arrested without any charges? And it's up to us now, the Zambians. It's our duty now. We need to fight for our president and our vice president, Honorable Makebi Zulu. We need just to come on board. Let us just organize ourselves to stand for those people because they already did the work. It's now up to us as citizens. We are not that we can stand and go in the street and protest for those people because we already know for them to be released, it's something else. Because if he knew well, he was going to release those people who are in prison for no reason. So for this one to be released, I don't think it's a good idea for them to be handed over to the police. We know what will happen next. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, Mwabombeni Ramwamba.
Mkwai.
Let me remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous. Make your contribution.
Yes. Looking at time, I've been following you. This is 10:20, whereby we are saying it is these early hours of the morning, whereby the UN is about to hand over our leaders to the police. Maybe the advice can be, or maybe the question I can ask can be, were they taken there by a group of people, by an organization, by anyone else, or did they sneak there as individually? Then why should they accept? If the answer is no, why can they accept to be given in the hands of the people so that they are handed over to the police? So if they went on their own, please let it be advised to them that let them not be handed over in the hands of these church leaders or any other person. Let them just be relinquished. They find their way out from there so that where they will go, they can at least decide with their lawyers on when can they visit the police. I think that should be the advice. Let them not be taken as if a group of people
took them there.
Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello,
I'm quiet.
Okay, I've been listening even yesterday. You know, a lot of people are going, let's come on board, let's come on board. Who is going to initiate the coming on board? But let's mobilize ourselves. No, let's demonstrate. But tapali, who is going to initiate? Because we all want to support, but how? Who's going to initiate? We are not even acting. That is my thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, we'll be winding up the debate. I think we've been at it for the last 3.5 hours, and we will need to go. The story we're running were various stories, but the prominent one is that Honorable Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu are expected to be handed over to the state today, to the police. And there's a process. I explained what will happen. The United Nations is based on Ali Kinkata Road. Maybe it has already happened. I don't know. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling.
I'm Simon. I'm calling from Lusaka.
Yes, Simon.
But Wamba, even the Fokulanda coin. Nishi Vayeni, Tapai, everywhere some Kuombamun. But now I'm on a definite sticker, via chicken. I might actually never ended. Then I want to very Pariski, I want to our Makebi Zulu na Brian Mundubileto. Then you are a kid deco. Mine is Nishiara Bashan. Asha. Kun. So Nishi. Kristena nkane de solution ina nkane wambo kurandira mwe wale ka protection beta ngakufuma mucharo bafume fe muno mucharo kozi nishite abantu awota nkane protected.
Thank you very much, caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good morning, Ambassador.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Blaise Zambia on the line.
Yes, Blaise, make your contribution.
It's a sad development, Ambassador, to see what's happening in our country. This moment, this is the only Zambia that we have, and we have to defend it. Our forefathers left this country for us, and looking at what's happening to our president, Brian Mundubileto, and the running mate, Makebi Zulu, is not something that we expected to come from this government. This is a ruthless government. Like I've been saying, that does not mean well for the country. We have seen it all. All these things that they're trying to get us caged, as long as we support Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu, they are calling us militias. I'm one of the people that they want so bad, and we are going to defend this country to the end. Because believe me, them releasing the military, the police officers to the streets is to intimidate the people so that we don't come out in numbers to defend the country, to defend our president, Brian Mundubileto, and to defend Makebi Zulu. But I can urge all the Zambian people to rise and defend the democracy of this country. We only have one Zambia, one nation. Believe me, if we don't defend right now, we let these guys continue. We have to say goodbye to the democracy of this country. I can assure you, my fellow Zambians, my fellow youths, this is the moment to rise and defend our nation. We let this pass, it's the end of Mother Zambia. It's the end of democracy. I believe the UN, they have reached a moment where I believe we're doing the negotiations. This is the government that does not listen. You remember, Hakainde Hichilema himself had the case to answer in the previous government. He had the treason case, that he was supposed to answer, but he was forgiven. Him is not looking at all those things. He's cold-hearted. He doesn't have a heart. He's not a parent. He doesn't care about any one of you. We have now to defend ourselves. We are on our own. We don't have a father in our country because the president is considered to be a father of the nation. But the president does not realize his role as a statesman. He doesn't realize his role as an elder at church, where he comes from, where he goes. He wants what he wants to happen. May we pray and may we get the strength from our God Almighty so that we can defend our country and so that we can defend our leaders who mean well for the country. Brian Mundubileto and Makebi Zulu. It hurts, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. And what I can say is, may God give us the strength. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. That was our last caller, and we have to end the broadcast. For all those calling, thank you very much. And my team, thank you for your endurance. Let me see if any of my members of the team, they are there. Team, we need to say goodbye. You need to rest. I need to rest. All the phones are ringing. I think our people can speak even up to 12 hours. Our people want to air their views. But what is clear is the inaction. People just want to talk and talk, but there's inaction in it. But for us, this platform brings you information. What you do with that information is up to you. Bachanda Kazia, let me start with you, then we end with Augustine. Then I let you go. Thank you so much for your sacrifices.
You're welcome, Mama. And it's always a pleasure when you hear from the people, when we sit down here and just listen to what the people are saying. And there's one common theme that I have taken today. Everyone is going, whatever is sad, what is happening to the country. It's almost like that is a starting point. Everyone talking about it is expressing sadness about the state of affairs. And you see, they've spoken about, leaving, not getting President Mundubileto leave the UN building, but we know this might be beyond them. And then they've also talked about the issues to do with how they're looking at the church, its participation. They think that they still will not prevent the violation of President Mundubileto and the Vice President Makebi Zulu. There is a fear that the church has a letdown, and they've named the pastors that they don't think that they could be good in this process. So you people that put yourselves up there as church leaders, you have a responsibility to make sure that President Mundubileto and the Vice President Makebi Zulu are not harmed. They are not in any way brutalized. We will hold you to account. There is one person who has been a disgrace to faith, and you've seen how people have condemned the actions by one of the most praised, pastors, Pastor Nivas Mumba. Now he is a shadow of himself when we see what he's doing, and unfortunately he's not getting it. Everyone, even if people talk about it, now it's getting to a point where people are annoyed about how he's behaving. Then you see that people have expressed reservations for the UN that they should be able to see if they can hand over. There is a code for the soldiers that, these soldiers that have been used, they've actually, it's a coup d'etat, like we have called it out here. There is also that, they cry that democracy is gone because of the way the people are being treated. And it's difficult to trust the current leadership. And then there is also a call for protest. which I think that we must stand up and protest. But what they are saying that what is it that we have to do? There should be leadership. But on this platform, Ambassador, we have always indicated that this is not just about us, it's about the people, it's the Zambian people. We give information, we give our analysis, but what you do to that with that information is really up to you. But in terms of standing with you, we will stand with you when the call to action is there. Definitely we will be there. I wish you would be in a position to take part into that. Then also that we must resist. We must resist and not to fear what is coming up. The people, everyone is saying, there's one compassionate caller who was insistent that even what you are seeing here is meant to just depress us. There is no way one person can kill the entire nation as long as people keep going in, keep going out there in a non-violent manner. Even if they want to use violence, do not, respond with violence. And finally, the death of Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya. This one, Mwamba, I'm not resting on this one. We demand accountability for that death. We demand accountability. There is no way the government should show itself like they are now trying to pretend to be good. No, there must be absolute accountability. I think I just want to wish all the best to the callers and to thank you very much for staying up and being part of the program. So until then, have a good day.
Justin, make your last contribution.
Generally, Ambassador, the callers are skeptical about the handover of Honorable Makebi Zulu and Honorable Brian Mundubileto to the Zambian government. Clearly, they don't trust their own government, and they believe that releasing their leaders to a government that they don't trust is risky. On the sidelines, I was reminded of the incident of Patrice Lumumba being handed over to Kasavubu in the Democratic Republic of Congo in the 1960s by the UN itself. You remember that it is those days and those periods, if we have read our history, that led to the UN Secretary General at the time, Dagama Shot, to perish in the Chichele plantation in Ndola as he was coming from those negotiations. So the issue here is that there is no rule of law in Zambia. What we have experienced is a coup d'etat. We are in a military state, and therefore subjecting people who ordinarily won this election before an illegitimate government is not in itself good for us as a country. And I think, Ambassador, we have to agree with our people that we cannot trust Mr. Hichilema, because Mr. Hichilema has demonstrated to us he's ready to do anything, including killing. And that is why we have, we are mourning the late Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya, because Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya was brutally murdered at the direction and orders of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. So surrendering Honorable Brian Mundubile by the UN and Honorable Makebi Zulu to this government, so they are charged with treason and then thrown in prison, such that there is no longer opposition in Zambia or opposition voices, will not be good for our country. And I think we must agree with these people. But one thing is a call to action. Our people must rise. It is their right to demonstrate. It is a constitutional right. Yes, the constitution is currently suspended, although not officially announced, but the constitution is suspended because Mr. Hichilema can close the courts willy-nilly, and the people cannot file a petition to challenge a clearly fraudulent election. But again, the people will be supported. When they rise, it is them to rise and demand their rights to be respected. I think the number of calls we have received clearly demonstrate that the people are not in support with what is happening to the current government or what is happening under the current government. And I think their voices will be even stronger when we unite and find ourselves on the streets of Lusaka, on the streets of Undola, Kitwe, Luansha, wherever that may be. Our people need to rise and show that this is their country. It doesn't belong to a specific individual alone, because they too have a right, to be heard. I think that is a message this morning to our people, that let's rise. This is a coup d'etat. If you don't agree with it, you have every right to express your views through even a demonstration. It is your right to do so.
Thank you, Augustine. Thank you, and thank you for your help. God bless.